Elon Musk is testing Neuralink.
I need to get an official tinfoil hat. No, that's all stuff I know.
Even if I had a really good shot at being president, if someone told me they'd give me $5 billion for me not to do it, I would testing out a different setup. That way I can look at the camera, but also look at you. So,
Here we go. All right. How you guys doing today?
what do you think?
I like it.
Yeah, it allows us to like look at each other.
Yeah,
The
it's
only thing
kind of been
I've got to
weird.
get used to is this microphone placement's not going to work for me in the long run. So I have to figure out a different spot.
Get
for
used
the
to my new
microphone.
fidgety patterns. I mean, it's kind of weird. I don't know what to do about looking at the camera or not, but it feels better talking to you looking this way. So I'll kind of do. Like
I don't think
hybrid lean.
any podcast they like truly look at the camera.
Yeah, true that. Okay.
I mean, they're having a conversation. They're just recording their
You
conversation.
know, it's like
so.
boom,
Yeah.
boom. I don't know.
Yeah, for me, it's just like I don't really like the mic's like over my shoulder. So I don't know. I guess actually, maybe I'll turn like this. You know what? This is kind of.
Yeah, it's
but
not
then
bad.
but then it kind of feels like I'm in the same situation if I was just at my desk.
Yeah, true that.
But then I guess it is. I don't know. Whatever. We're figuring this out.
Yeah, we're working on it, y'all.
Bear with us as we continue to figure out this.
All right, so before the podcast, we were talking about Bing Bong.
Yeah. So it was that guy that was just like interviewing random people on the streets in New York City.
Okay, I've not fact checked this, but I thought it was from the movie Joy.
No,
The little character.
Where we got it from was with the
Okay.
clip that went viral.
Yeah.
And it was a guy that would like go around and interview people on the streets, and he was just like, "How do you feel about Joe Biden or whatever?" And he was like,
Oh, yeah.
Bing bong,
Bing bong.
F your life, you know." Yeah,
Bleep your life.
yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
So that's.
Nah, but the little, the imaginary friend from Joy, I believe his name's Bing Bong.
I don't even know what
And
Joy
he rides
is.
in a
What is
magic
Joy?
wagon. Dude, it's an awesome movie. It's about like memories and growing up and family and emotions.
Is it like Pixar?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's an
okay.
emotional roller coaster. It's awesome. Y'all
Yeah.
go watch it.
I've never even seen that
It's,
at all.
It's awesome. You need to watch it tonight.
Speaking,
Letty will love it.
speaking of love and emotion,
I cry though when I watch it. So
Aubrey had me take a test on how we
Oh,
love,
yeah.
which I think is actually interesting.
yeah, it was very.
So there's different, like, I guess, love personalities. I don't know what the way to do it is. It is truly, like, I guess, how you react to confrontation, things like that. But there is, like, I guess I should look them up and find out where they are. But there's someone called the vacillator, which is probably the one that is going to be the hardest to determine just by the name.
We should definitely put a link, and y'all should take this test. It was free
Yeah.
and whatever. So.
Yeah, howwelove.com, I think.
Yeah, we just found it. No affiliation. So
Yeah, Aubrey sent it to me. I think
Yeah,
her
Brad sent it to me.
therapist had brought it up just as like, hey, just out of curiosity, see what you are. Yeah. But there's like the avoider, the pleaser, the controller, the victim, the vacillator. I think that's it.
I think so.
So obviously it's pretty easy to tell what the avoider is. The avoider like wants to avoid confrontation at all costs, like pretty much will do whatever to not have confrontation, which
I'm
is
out.
yeah. The pleaser is the only difference, which you may not have read this, the only difference between a pleaser and a vacillator is the vacillator shows anger.
Okay.
So the pleaser's scared to show anger because anger could potentially drive you away and is not pleasant,
Sure.
So
Yeah, that would go against your want to please.
They actually said that the vacillator is one of the few that shows every emotion because they show anger where the pleaser doesn't. They show some other things that the other ones don't do. I listened to like an hour-long thing on like double speed, so it was only 30 minutes, but them like talking about the vacillators and stuff like that. Like there's an audio section on it, and it's pretty interesting because there's some of the things they say I'm just like, nah, that's not me. But then some of the things they say that I'm like, yeah, that's me.
Oh
That's
man,
100%
I
me.
read that thing and I was like, ouch. I mean, it was all things I knew about myself, but I'd never really read it, and I was just like, oh man, this makes me.
Do you feel like it was eye-opening?
No, it's all stuff I've known.
Right,
Yeah.
but when you read it, do you feel like it like helps you just like better dissect that about yourself?
No, it was like a punch in the stomach. It was just like, oh, yeah. I mean, I know all these things about myself. I don't know. Try to make up for it by like doing good things
For me, it is stuff I knew, but I think it also gave me some perspective on like how to address some of the negative characteristics, because there are definitely positive characteristics on there. Like it literally said that like vacillators make some of the best counselors just because they're very direct and they like aren't trying to please you and they aren't trying to avoid confrontation,
Well, yeah, it's wild, what they get into on there, man. Like some of the, the questions they ask, they're some of them are kind of like, whoa.
Yeah.
Hopefully too many people aren't living in too many of those scenarios, but But they dissect it, man. I mean, I guess when you categorize it into, only 5 subsets, then you're bound to have similarities. But it was like, no, it's pretty dead on.
Do you know there's some people that take that though, and that you won't get in, like you'll score so low on all of them, and that's what that's the not the perfect, but the healed person.
Oh yeah,
right. So you got to think about what you're feeling are the negative. They honed in on the negative characteristics of those people, and that's what they.
Well, okay. So
does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, it does. But hear me out.
Yeah.
We excel at things we're good at and we like to do.
Right.
So we excel at things that we're good at and we like to do. And we're all good at things. So this thing tells you, like, okay, here's how you handle conflict. And yeah, it is how I handle conflict. Yes, we should all constantly work on the negatives, but sometimes you can really shine in a way where
oh yeah,
I like to feel like I can overshadow some of the
right. But I think the crucial part of it for me is just if I know how I react, and then I can learn how Aubrey reacts, and then they kind of have built out how negative cycles go in your relationship. Mm-hmm. Like if you're the male is the vacillator and the female is the pleaser, then this is what your confrontation usually looks like.
Yeah.
And this is what happens. The vacillator gets angry because they have an idealized view of this. It doesn't come to fruition. There's an argument. The vacillator distance themselves. The pleaser kind of just doesn't want to do anything, so they're walking on eggshells. The vacillator finally gets done ruminating and just decides I'm going to return to this. I'm going to give my 100%. The pleaser's thrown off. We never really reconciled this issue. And so it's
tough, man.
That's the cycle that Aubrey and I, sometimes go through.
Well, man, yeah. I mean, cycles and seasons of everything. It was, I guess, kind of eye-opening with that test. I think you got to really answer it honestly, just like any of the other ones. I would say, though, for me, like I said earlier, it kind of felt like a punch in the gut. I've taken DISC assessments and some of those other things to tell you your personality profile, and those are normally oh yeah, this is kind of cool, and this was just oh dang,
yeah.
Well, because what am I avoid conflict a lot of times because it's better than being yeah, most of the time, man, if I'm if there's a conflict and I'm there, even me dancing on eggshells, I'm gonna be told I felt like I intimidated the person.
Oh yeah,
Or I mean, shit, there was a long time where I did not avoid conflict and was just physical about everything. But that didn't work out to my favor. That didn't help anything, so.
But yeah, I guess in my opinion, it's always, insightful to learn more about yourself, and then what you do with that knowledge is up to you, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, that's kind of what I did. I was I don't really. Yep, that's me.
Okay. But I think it helps people like me though know how to interact differently when you understand someone else. So I think that for me, it's kind of you probably have done this before at work. When I was at BASF, we had to do those these color wheels, and it was blue, red, green, and yellow. Blue people were more analytical. Red people were more what they would call management, but it was more controlling people. Green was more empathy, and yellow was more outgoing. And it's where you fell on this spectrum wheel,
This is where all their tax money is going when they get those government contracts to color wheels with their employees. Right?
But no,
I get it. I get it. The corporate level, they do that.
But it was interesting to see other people's, and then you would know how to interact with those people a little bit differently.
I guess, right?
So, but again, there's plenty of information out there. It's what you choose to do with that information.
Very much. And what your intended outcome is. What do you want to get out of it? What do you want to do?
Yeah.
Anyways, y'all should take that test.
Like I said, very insightful in relationship stuff. Aubrey and I are always trying to,
wake up, man.
I feel like you always are trying to better your relationship. If you're not trying to better your relationship, better yourself, better your relationship, better everything that you're
doing.
Level
up, man. Yeah. Constantly level up. I know we talk about that all the time, but
So, something happened yesterday, and we were talking about, should we talk about it on the podcast? And it's we might as well, since we didn't do anything wrong. We actually did everything right. We were going to run our pitch intense cookie, and all of a sudden someone noticed like a white bristle, essentially, is what we kind of come to, like a soft bristle brush. Like imagine your broom, but like not as big as that. Probably like what, 1.5 inches, 2 inches.
Yeah, a little white, opaque. Like a little clear, opaquish white.
Yeah, it's probably like an 1.5 inches, inch and 3/4 long, like white nylon looking brush. And so we stopped immediately, and then we started like. They were like, hey, I think this comes from the gram flour. We started searching the gram flour, found more in the gram flour, opened a box of brand new gram flour, started sifting through it, found another one. So we immediately, this is the sad part.
We had to drop the whole inventory, the whole batch.
Yeah, we had already made some cookies. We had to throw everything away, and I think that's the saddest part. But bringing that up, I sent a link to our group. I don't know if you saw that. Kraft Singles is having to recall 83,880 Kraft Singles. And did you see why?
Yeah.
Their flow wrapping machine made it left a little strip. So when you unwrap the cheese, they would leave a little piece of plastic behind, which to me, it's like, well, just pull that little piece of plastic off. But I'm assuming so many people unwrap them so quickly that, they don't look.
It's kind of
and so they had to recall that cheese because it may potentially leave behind that little piece of plastic. And that's just some of the things.
That's kind of weird, though, because isn't it already mostly plastic? Like the cheese, right? Like it doesn't mold and all that stuff. It doesn't, it feels like it's all the same family.
But I think that's the thing that as our company is scaled, that we have to now start like worrying about. Which I know. I mean, not that I didn't have to worry about before. I think it's always been a constant.
And so
worry
just
for me,
to kind of clarify, we have several processes in place. So our lead dough maker. Yeah, our lead dough maker, Adriana, she was the one that actually saw it, brought it to our attention. We did everything we could to try to almost make it our fault, just make sure like we didn't miss a cleaning step, we didn't do anything. No sign of anything. We checked all our tools. We didn't have anything with any bristle that even looked remotely like that. And we don't use bristles anywhere near a food contact surface area anyways, but we're not supposed to, but we checked. And so finally, like Brad said, we started busting open the actual sealed boxes of flour, and sure enough, there was enough in there. And it sucks, man, because it's like we were doing a big run, man. We had a big run planned. I mean, we've talked about it to y'all, but so he said we had to toss some cookies we made. Well, we also had to toss the batches of dough that we had.
Yeah, so all the chocolate chips and marshmallows
to keep
and
going, right? So it's like, yeah.
It was frustrating.
I mean, it's great that we caught it. It's phenomenal that we caught it. It means our processes are working.
Yep.
Right? It's what we do it for. But dang, it sucks.
Yeah,
it sucks you got to get rid of it all because they're good cookies. And it was like a little, I mean, whatever. I would just.
Yeah, I know. It's like you can't sell it, though.
No, I know.
It's like once.
Yeah, there's some mysterious piece of plastic in your cookie. No, sorry. I know.
So,
Dang.
yeah, it was really frustrating. But I think that just like talk about growth of a company, it's like this is the kind of things that like you have to pay attention to now.
Talk about the
a
punches.
lot more. Yeah. So just to be transparent too, I would talk about it cost us essentially $2,000 to do that. Obviously, like we then taking up with the supplier and working on reimbursement there, but we have to eat that cost up front right now. And so it was about $600, $700 in labor, and then $1,200, $1,300 in material that we did. So it's like $2,000 that was like, see you later.
Yeah, boom. And in a matter of just, 2 hours, right? Or like a couple hours, right?
Yeah.
So because we produced it all, then we found it. And then it's like, okay, well, now we have to spend the rest of the time cleaning up. We're going to run a different cookie. It puts, and really, that's being generous because, like, now people are working late, and they're only working late because they, because of whatever, and then their overtime hours. But still, we're working with our suppliers. So far, they've been extremely cooperative and forthright with it. But, yeah, we have to eat the cost, and these are.
And then technically, it is a Kellogg's product. Kellogg's should do a recall.
Kellogg should be doing a recall.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting if they do or not.
Yeah. I don't know, right? Because even the Kraft thing, is the recall like they're going to actually try to get a hold of you, or are they just going to put a link up on a website that maybe makes the rounds?
Well, it's supposed to. Technically the
it.
supplier, like Webstaurant should have reached out to us and said, you bought these products that were da-da-da-da. Yeah. Grocery stores don't have to do like a recall nearly the same. They just kind of like say like,
If you have a problem, they'll just give you another one.
Usually. Yeah. So that was just interesting. We've learned about recall insurance. We've learned about all that kind of stuff.
Man, I mean, it just keeps everything top of mind. So it's good, right? Because Brad shoots that link and then it's like, oh yeah, okay, cool. Let's make sure we're learning on their time as much as possible.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so that's just another, I don't know. I always like to share business stuff with you guys. Like not all wins. Like I guess technically that's a win because our process caught something that could have potentially been bad. And it, didn't happen.
Yeah. I mean, it's bittersweet, maybe not the right way. Like it's exactly what we wanted to happen. It's just a punch in the stomach, but it could have choked somebody. So which would have been far worse. So we'll take the punch in the stomach. Kellogg's, tighten up. Can't have that happen. This is one of our wholesale cookies.
Yeah. So, but that was our morning yesterday. I
Can you imagine though how many bristles? They've had to lose a whole damn broom in there.
Yeah, I was gonna say the amount that we found. I'm pretty sure that someone must have dropped a brush.
Yeah, well, because it's in silos, right? So it's not like.
I don't know how they produce the graham flour, so I'm not really sure what that process looks like. So it's hard for me to comprehend. But if they take sheets of graham crackers or graham and it crushes it, then it makes me think that someone dropped a brush in there, which also means there's probably microplastics and all kinds of stuff, metal, and something somewhere.
I can't imagine. I'm thinking silo and clean up and left. And not checked, and then filled because you'd never use it for food contact. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Again,
but then flour. I mean, airbrushes that you.
I think that's the hardest part for me and some of this stuff is I always want to know what happened. Do you remember when? Do you remember when our WoW internet went out and then it was it ended up being a nationwide outage? No. You don't remember that? Our internet went out with
I didn't remember
WoW.
it being a nationwide thing.
Yeah, it was a nationwide thing, and our rep was like, yeah, it's a nation. And I was like, can you tell me in the end, what happened? He never circled back with me. And I'm always like, what caused that? That's a big deal.
Have you seen what the what do you want to call it? Market size is of cyber theft or ransom?
Yeah. Isn't it 90 billion?
I don't know how high it is, but I know it's huge. I know it's a huge
I think I told you after they did the Caesar and MGM hack, it was on the Robinhood snackable thing that I read. And it talked about, I think it was said $90 billion is the.
It's we stole your stuff. I mean, you still have it, but we have it from somewhere on the planet.
It's weird that they ransom it too.
That's how they get their money, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, but I guess you could just sell it on the dark web too.
Scam. I mean, I guess it's a lot, they're getting some big boy numbers though, man. Billions.
Yeah.
Single transaction.
Yeah. It was a lot of money that they got from
I'm not endorsing it, but it's
and then also with
you don't have to put a gun to anybody's head and you can make billions of dollars. I don't know.
To me, I just look at all the vulnerabilities, why your rooms and stuff are operate on why is that all connected to the internet? You could have an internal server that's not connected to the internet that houses all that stuff, and then
I don't know
what I'm saying?
How
it just seems
and I don't want to sound paranoid, but doesn't that seem like a problem?
Well, so
as more and more things kind of connect together.
Well, so that's like crypto wallets. I don't know if you've seen that, but you can house them in a ledger that's not on the internet.
Put them on a USB drive.
Right, essentially.
The first one I had.
Right, and then you can connect it, and then that's how you access it. So that's how you keep your money safe. Is essentially it's not ever connected to the internet until you connect it.
I got one. I was like, "This is a Bitcoin."
Yeah,
a friend of mine. It was cheap at the time, so whatever. But I was like, "This is a Bitcoin." Okay, I have a Bitcoin. Can you show me how to check? I mean, I have them online now.
Do you have them?
I don't have. I probably have I have an amount.
Oh, big baller! Hey,
no,
they're saying that Bitcoin is about to blow up again.
Hey,
they're claiming.
I think that probably means it's going to tank. I don't know what that means.
Yeah,
I feel like the when you look at it too with crypto, and I don't trade in crypto. I don't do anything. I'm not nearly smart enough. I use it to buy things.
Yeah,
use it as easy way to transfer money to people and stuff like that.
It's part of the shady internet dealings.
Yeah, true that, But no, I mean, shit. I have not, but I know people that have bought houses and done all kinds of shit with crypto.
You used to could only gamble with Bitcoin. Anytime you wanted to play online poker and stuff like that, you could only do it with cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
And no lie, I remember I was buying when I was in college when we were gambling online. I was buying Bitcoin and stuff at the time, and I want to say one Bitcoin was probably maybe $1,000 at that time.
Yeah.
And so we bet like $200. We bet buying like, 0.2 Bitcoins, right? And I remember thinking, man, I wish I would have accidentally left some in my wallet, back then.
The early adopters, though, the boys that were getting on there for like $1.
Oh yeah,
There's
or
one
even
dude
$1,000.
Yeah, there was one dude that paid like 50 Bitcoin for somebody to deliver pizza to him.
Yeah,
and like I want to say the dude just did it and like didn't know what to do with it and like just left him in there and like had a ton of money.
Right, yeah, because when it went up to
forgot about it.
Yeah, when it went up to like $50,000 or $60,000, you're just like,
Whatever was that? Hell yeah.
You're like, holy crap.
I met this dude at a real estate conference that did a bunch of stuff in crypto. I didn't interview him, but like some of the finance people there were pretty impressed by like some of his stuff that he was doing with like the resorts in Puerto Rico. And so some of his earnings or a lot of his earnings weren't taxed in the same way. And so he was like, I don't know if
finessing.
It was legit. He was definitely finessing. These guys thought it was pretty slick though.
Speaking of Bitcoin, do you know that the FTX stuff started, the lawsuit and everything started? Oh. And I sent you the link that Sam Bankman-Fried or whatever, the FTX guy, tried to was considering bribing Donald Trump $5 billion
of stolen money
to not run for president, which it would have been smart for him to take it because he didn't win.
Yeah.
But that's wild.
That's $5 billion, man.
$5 billion.
To not be okay.
Yeah, I know. Like if
I wouldn't want to be a man.
Even if I had a really good shot at being president, if someone told me they'd give me $5 billion for me not to do it, I would do that in a heartbeat.
I just don't know.
Because even as much market manipulation as those people do with like all those senators and congressmen and stuff, they don't get $5 billion out of it.
The prestige and everything of the position. But dude, it feels stressful. And like my politics are just going to have them hating on me the whole dang time. At least the news. Just so. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think I would want to run for president. So if you wanted to pay me $5 billion to not run, Sam Bankman-Frieds of the world.
Right.
Dude, it's weird, bro.
I know. I don't know how anyone believed him and his girlfriend and invested into that company. I don't know that much about it though, so I can't really like do it. But like at the heyday of it, I was reading online that they had an office in the Bahamas and they couldn't get Amazon packages. So they were flying a private plane every day from Miami to the Bahamas to bring the packages that people would order on Amazon to like a Miami location, and then they would load it onto a plane and fly them packages. And then they also gave them like $200 a day in Uber Eats credit for them to order food. And like there was one guy that would like order like the company
would
FTX, the workers in the Bahamas.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sick.
They literally said it was like the coolest life ever. And I was like, yeah, because you were literally just blowing everyone's money. Like,
yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
If we put our tinfoil hats on for a moment, I think we may have just seen that like a CIA, NSA honey hole just kind of implode on itself.
Well, yeah.
I mean, because, who would give him and his girlfriend that much money? And why can't it all be, like, how did it amass so fast, so much?
This has got to be a Netflix documentary at some point.
Yeah.
Because I would love to, know way more information on this. Like, how
when you
did...
get up in the when you get up in the bees, boy, like,
but I
feel like...
But he had, like, people like Tom Brady investing in this.
Yeah.
Like, how? Like,
how did he meet... Because, like... I don't know anything about,
money buys
Tom
you
Brady's
access, how do you even get
actual financial acumen, but I know that he is going to have a gang of people around here making sure that he's making good choices.
Right.
So that means those people, like finance people and stuff, went through the prospectus, went through everything, met this dude.
Yeah. And thought it was good.
And was like, yep, this feels right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know. Believe me, all the time I'm wondering, like, how did this happen?
Yeah.
Partially because, like, I want to, not that I can replicate it, but, like, how did he sell this? Because I want to know. Because, I mean, he may literally be the salesman of the year or the century.
Or that girl, what was it, Theremin or whatever?
Oh, yeah. With
Hi,
the girl that said that they could do all this blood stuff with like a prick.
From a prick.
Yeah, I forgot what she was about.
That's tough. I don't know anything about it, right? I'm sure it was all terrible, but like that's a weird spot in tech because I feel like everybody's selling the next generation, bro.
You're they are. They're selling the dream.
Data.
Yeah, they're selling the dream.
So like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Right.
I mean, I guess if you're like, we have the technology.
She was on like the Forbes youngest billionaire list or something like that, but then it all like imploded on her when they realized she was
unicorn
lying.
Like out of nowhere.
Yeah, I know. If you don't know what we're talking about, I need to look up this girl's name, but she was essentially owned like a blood lab thing, and I don't know.
See, even these, man, like even something like that just feels like a strange. Whatever. I need to get an official tinfoil hat.
Elizabeth Ann Holmes.
And
she was Theranos' former.
That's right.
Theranos. Yeah, former.
What did I say? Theremin?
I don't
Is that
remember.
an instrument?
She was convicted of fraud in connection to her blood testing company. So.
Well, all right. Keep the tinfoil hat on for a minute, man. Boom, blood testing all across, little pinprick. Tell everything about you, all your data.
Yeah.
Insurance companies, everybody want that data. So
Holmes, 39,
like
reported to a federal prison in Bryan, Texas on May 30th to begin serving an 11-year, 3-month sentence for a role in wire fraud.
I like this table here.
That's what I'm saying. She only got 11 years for like living it up for probably like 4 or 5 years as like a billionaire.
Yeah, but like it's a non-violent crime. I wonder how much of the sentence she has to serve.
Yeah.
Dude, I've seen some of these you'll read about. Like even like it's actually pretty sad, but I guess it's sad. You'll see like a drug smuggler, like somebody bringing a boatload into the country.
Yeah,
not get nearly as much like time as like a third strike, nothing, but like petty crime, like a dealer, like a street level
with a gun
dealer,
and like a couple grams of cocaine.
Yeah, I mean like.
I don't know if grams of cocaine is the big thing or not because I don't do drugs like that.
I think a gram is like a big charge. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I have literally, we don't have to get into that on here, but I've literally never done cocaine, so I'll just leave
Don't do drugs, y'all.
I mean, I smoke weed. But
weed's fun.
Yeah. But
everything else will get you in trouble.
Yeah, I think it's weird to me. Well, also, I will go back to, in that time, there were people investing into weird stuff. I mean, you think about, like, people were paying how much money for NFTs.
Well, true.
We were in a golden age, and we didn't even realize it. Like, there was so much money going around. I mean, Fat and Weird had the best year it's ever had.
Yeah. They printed all that damn money.
Yeah. I know.
Unactualized inflation, yeah. I mean, it was, but it was like kind of silly. We were buying things like an NFT. I was very interested in
for
NFT.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, I was very interested in NFT technology, but they're like, if you own this NFT, it powers the network. It's like, no, it doesn't power anything.
Yeah, I think NFTs are really cool for the future of things, like for
Web3, Internet of Things, things that actually tether together, things that actually like maybe something is like maybe the code combines and benefits somehow. I don't know.
Well, I think that NFTs are beneficial for things like, I mean, contracts and like home stuff.
I absolutely
because
agree
you
with
could literally
it's
really big in real estate. A local company's doing it where they essentially get residual sales on the property forever. St. Joe.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, actually, they are.
And so I think that that's a big thing because NFTs, you can set that up automatically. That every time it sells,
it's just smart contracts. That type of situation. It's easier and it gets rid of like closing. I mean, really, AI automation and some of this crypto technology is really gonna change everything. It's good and bad, but regardless of whether you think it's going to be like a utopia out there in the future, it ain't going to be all utopia along the way. I can tell you that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so.
Well, yeah, I mean, anytime you see a utopian society, there's
when you got the good, you got the really bad.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's the people that are like building up the utopian society that are like living in this slums.
Elysium is a good one.
Well, yeah, there's a ton of movies like that where it's just like, there's these people that are, I mean, in the Hunger Games. I mean, literally, there's the Hunger Games
Elysium,
in the capital.
They like live in this big like.
Oh, is that the sphere? Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
And they literally have the technology to heal anything. You just lay down, heals it. So they they like pay like coyote smugglers to like take their kid with cancer or take their kid with some issue, throw them like break into someone's house, throw them in there. Everyone has one in their house. Throw it in there, just heal their kid, and like then they don't care what happens.
Right.
You know, and it's like that's bullshit.
Right.
Like, you know, ugh.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think that any time that you have those kind of like utopian societies, you have the people that built them up and then the people that are continuing to maintain and build those up, you know? So
kind of tough. Yeah, kind of tough. So,
but robots could do that one day, I guess.
Oh, dude,
but then you have
gotta look up like,
Terminator.
Yeah, Tesla, Elon. I don't remember the timeline, so I'm not going to miss it. But like, they're planning on not having humans in their facilities. Have y'all thought about this? And I like Elon Musk. I think he's cool. But like, we're like excitedly making him a potential supervillain. You know, he's got like the cars, the spaceships.
But he talks so much about like not AI taking over and stuff. So like,
I'm not saying AI's taking over. I'm saying he could. He's got spaceships. He's got the cars. So the vehicles. He's got the satellite network. He's got the
rockets.
Yeah. Now he's about to have robots. He's got flamethrowers. He's got a thing that drills through the tunnel. I mean, like he's like a cliche evil.
Lex Luthor.
Yeah. I mean, it's Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor didn't just become Lex Luthor overnight.
Yeah.
People were like, yeah, give us self-driving cars.
Yeah, I mean, that is true.
And then he's going to be like, here's a cell phone. I'm know where you are and what you talk about.
Well, I think, you probably saw recently, didn't they just pass that minimum wage law for California fast food?
I'm not sure what's it up to now. $900 an hour?
No, it's $25 an hour or something like that. But then, no lie, they...
Vending machines.
No, right after that got passed, it says... McDonald's piloting first completely autonomous McDonald's.
Yeah.
Where there's like no humans in there at all.
I've seen them in the Middle East. And they're just like behind glass. You can see that it's like things like, it's like a conveyor type process. It's nothing like robots.
Right.
It's very Krispy Kreme-esque, if you will.
Right.
You know, like blip, dot, drop, salt shake.
But it's a weird thing, right? Because at the end of the day, a company's job is going to be to protect their profit margins.
Yes.
So, this is my business class for some people right now. People are not a tax write-off. Nope. They do not work around the clock. They need breaks. They don't come to work sometimes, things like that. Machines are a tax write-off.
Well, they're depreciable, for sure.
Right. I mean, that's what I mean. Yeah. Depreciable asset. They will run as long as you can run them, essentially. Yeah. I mean, there may be some maintenance
there's pros
involved,
and cons, right? Yeah, I mean, for sure.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
But what I'm trying to say is you have to be very careful of what you're demanding because with technology the way it's heading, they're going to find their most expensive costs and they're going to start replacing those. So you better be a skilled...
Well, so yes, you better be skilled. And I'll say that because... inflation and the cost of living in general is going up at an astronomical rate. As an employer, that is not my fault. There is a lag between what the economy, what you can charge at the market and what you like cost you to perfect the goods. Right. It's like a slow ebb or flow up, whatever. And it hurts. And so like you were saying, the profit margin, you have to protect your profit margin because it ebbs and flows depending on the market, and you can't always make that up. I know some guys in fast food are getting their teeth kicked in right now because the cost of food has jumped up so much, and they're in Sonic Drive-In, so I still talk to some of them. We're not running heavy margins anyways, but, in the mid-low 20s. So if your cost of food goes up, which is your predominant cost, and it jumps up by like 10, 15%, I mean, it's just hitting your bottom line. Bang, bang, bang.
And your labor cost
and then your
goes
labor
up 10,
is like, boom, jumping up because everybody needs a raise. But I guess if we fast forward that, what happens when everything is automated? What happens when things AI are done and there's no reason for people to have less kids? There needs to be less people. Put my tinfoil hat on.
Oh.
I was going to say something, but then I know that the channel doesn't like certain words, so I won't say why they... No, and I'm not really saying that it happened either, but it's like, man, automation's coming. Self-driving vehicles are coming, which means everybody who drives for a living, all truck drivers, all everything are gone. When that happens, at some point, trains got to do it. I respect train conductors and everything, but like, you don't have to take a left turn.
Yeah.
Or a right turn or whatever. Planes fly themselves anyways. They land themselves. They take off. The pilot is there. He is able to perform those things should those things come off, but they don't need to do it. And again, I'm not saying he's not there, right? Okay, but it's a full deal. I'm sure they could make them more than they are. I'm sure there's just regulations and there's probably safety things, but we're going to get over that at some point.
Oh, yeah.
And when all of those people don't have jobs anymore, or those jobs aren't available, like a robot can perform surgery better than a surgeon has to be able to. It's more precise.
Yeah.
It just can't think, so it has to be operated. But once it can, what are all the people going to do?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not for it. I don't love it, but like,
yeah, because in the utopian society thing, it's like some people are still going to have to work on the robots, build robots. I don't know, robots can build robots, but you got to build the robots that build the robots. I mean,
do you?
At some point, some human has to build the robot that builds robots.
That's right.
But yeah, eventually you can have robots building robots. But like, I mean, cars are pretty much built by robots.
Yeah,
now.
yeah. I mean,
this is a side tangent. There's a Rolls Royce, the most expensive Rolls Royce in the world.
Yep.
$25 million.
Okay.
It takes 4 years because it's built by hand. There's only 3 of them.
You put a down payment on one?
No. Jay-Z and Beyonce own one.
Okay.
Another one is by someone who wished to remain unnamed. And then the third one, I saw a video of it. It's this Rolls Royce, like Dovetail is what it's called, but it looks like the back looks like an old yacht. Like it has like that wood inlay in there. But it's like 1,831 pieces, and it's all put together by hand. Mm-hmm. So I will say there probably will be a market that exists for this like handmade thing, right?
Oh, if you want to talk about ultra luxury.
Yeah, and I think the ultra luxury.
How many billionaires are there now?
There's a lot more than there used to be.
Tons, man. Yeah. Like billionaire was like a thing, and now it's like, oh, so and so. What's her name? Sister's she's a billionaire, and
well, I mean,
and then Ryan Reynolds, boom, actors are billionaires now, and
Katie and Hayden,
yeah,
friends
bang, boom, billions.
I mean, I don't know if they technically are, but like,
and it's like
they're close
net
enough.
worth, and you know, what I mean, there's very few people just have $1 billion sitting around. There are people that do. That's crazy, but
could have been Trump.
Well, think about it, inflation, man.
Yeah,
it's like. I remember when I was young,
the question is,
$1 million was actually a lot of money.
Who's going to be the first trillionaire?
Someone with AI. Either the open AI guy.
Yeah.
Or somebody we don't know about that is able to use
harness AI to some extent.
Well, because it was open for a while. Open AI ain't open no more. They claim they're afraid, which I get it. It's like, you could literally, if they didn't have markers in place, you could be like, hey, yo, ChatGPT, teach me how to steal from a charity.
Right.
And he could go pull court documents and like, this is how this guy got away with it. This is where he messed up. Like, go study court documents. Teach me how to not get caught doing these things. You could do that.
Yeah.
So there are things in place. Now, there are people that are working on, there are already ways around some of that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like... Yeah, that's wild. Dude.
I mean, I could see someone like Elon Musk because he's so involved in the tech world.
It's going to be AI.
Everything.
It's going to be AI when you can
completely
work around the clock.
Yeah.
I don't know, boy.
Yeah.
It's the thinking. See, everything up and to date that we've done, somebody has to write the code. Somebody has to work the robot. Somebody has to da-da-da.
Hey, Elon Musk is testing Neuralink.
I know.
The truth is, so if that works, though, I could potentially see that being like what gets him to be a trillionaire. Yeah, it's just weird, really weird that someone's like, I mean,
why do we need this right now?
Computers get viruses, okay? Yeah. Humans get viruses too, but computers get viruses. I don't know about putting something in my brain that can change, give me knowledge, take away knowledge, do anything to me like that. You know what I mean? That's always connected to the internet. I feel like that's how people get like hacked, and next thing you know, someone's controlling another human being. You know, I don't know.
I just feel like
there's not enough password security in the world.
I feel like we are heading in a direction and at a speed that there's no way of knowing whether it's good for us. People get cancer today, like a ton.
Yeah.
Right? Your sister, right? Of course, didn't mean to bring up sore subject, but like they do. Tons of sunscreen out, more cancer. Everybody's like grandfather used to smoke all the time. Like I don't know if there was less instances, whatever, but like my grandfather, great grandfather, like smoked a ton of cigars, and I think wound up dying of a stroke or something. But like, I was a baby. I don't remember. Sorry, grandpa.
My great grandfather just died of like natural causes.
But I mean,
at
it's
94.
like I feel like all the whatever, all the waves everywhere, all the everything. They say like your phone in your back pocket kills your prostate or does all kinds of mess like that. And then it's like, oh, you just want to go full
chip in the head,
full send, baby.
Yeah,
YOLO. Let's see what happens.
Well, I mean, not that
mark me down for like Gen 3 or 4. Like, let me. I wasn't an early iPhone adapter.
Not that it happens to everyone, but some people that get breast implants have like that body rejection, builds up calcium or whatever around it.
Your brain is sensitive to electricity, man. That's all that it runs on. I don't know, dude. I feel like there will be some folks that go nuts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've heard of people like having brain injuries and it changes them completely.
Oh yeah,
literally. One guy I read. I mean, it's in that book that I was reading, but it talks about like this guy was like a perfectly normal dude, has a traumatic brain injury, and then all of a sudden like becomes like a gambling addict, loses all his money, like starts gambling with like other people's money. And
I have seen some of that, and I'm gonna have to gloss over. But there was a study where I think it was hypnosis with drugs, but like your brain stores a lot of information that you don't have recall of. And so like, I could see getting jostled because there's been where like people learn languages, and when you dig in, it's like, well, they spent a bunch of time in that country. So they actually like maybe were socially embarrassed to try the language, but they kind of knew it because they'd heard it so many times and they just didn't speak. I don't speak it, but they did.
Well, that's also what I learned with Letty. It's recall versus like recognition or receptive or something like that. So essentially Letty, I would be like, what color is this M&M? And she would say blue, and it was yellow. And I'd be like, no, it's yellow. And she'd be like, yellow. And I'd be like, okay, what color is it? She'd say yellow, right? Because we just repeated. And I'd give it to her. I'd pull out another yellow M&M, and I'd be like, what color is this? And she'd be like, red. And I'm like, you're smarter than this. Like, what's going on? So then I laid a yellow M&M down and a blue M&M down. And I said, which one of these is yellow? And she would be like, that's yellow. And she knew exactly, and she'd grab it. And Aubrey said that it's something that she learned in speech, so she's a speech therapist, that people can recognize it, but they can't necessarily recall it because the recall versus recognize is like the way that they're wired. So like kids can recognize things, they can't recall it as easily at a young age.
I didn't know that's what it was called,
but that may be the language situation too, is you can recognize it. And there's people, people are like, oh, I can't speak Spanish, but I can understand it. Right. Those people, they can recognize, but they can't recall. Yeah. Or they just don't have as good recall.
I mean, shoot, like I'm dang sure not about to do it on this podcast, but like I ran U.S. Lawns. We hired a lot of Hispanics. I was around a lot of Spanish.
Yeah.
They spoke to me in half and half, I knew what they were saying every time. I knew and then again, it's landscaping. We're saying a lot of similar words all the time anyways, English or otherwise.
Yeah.
So it. I could say it. But I sound like an idiot, so I never did. I would say it to them, though, and then let them laugh at me.
Yeah. Because you're just like, whatever.
Yeah. Well, I don't come across racist on here. There. I'm like, laugh at the white guy. So.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like if you're trying to speak to someone in their language, I feel like that's the opposite.
They liked it.
No,
they liked it. Actually, it was very much like that one guy, that dresses up, culturally appropriated, and then is like, hey, is this offensive?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was very much like that. They loved it. They kind of like, giggle, laugh, get me,
But believe it or not, this has been 45 minutes.
Woo!
It felt like it went really quick, didn't it?
I don't know. This was a good podcast.
Yeah. Oh, it's good for us.
I was sleepy at first because it was raining, but I see the light coming back out. So,
but hopefully you enjoyed this setup.
You guys like the table like this?
Yeah. And then also for Eastman, I'm going to do this for you. After we end this podcast, I'm going to clap because I forgot to do it at the beginning, but he can always go to the end and then synchronize it because he said that the sound isn't syncing right. But
what does that do?
I don't know. He can sync it on the clap that way.
Can I? All right, ready?
Well, no, we got to end it and then we'll clap. Okay.
Oh.
So that's the end of the podcast. You're worth it. Do hard shit.